the biggest surprise that I've seen in this market was how resilient communities of what I thought were tokens, were. I would have never thought XRP would have been the best performing token after the inauguration, but it was. The XRP army is vibrant and strong. And I was even talking to Brad Garlinghouse. He said, I'm not even sure where it comes from.
The next 2 years in the UAE, you will be able to do more with cryptocurrency as a day-to-day than you will be able to do with dirham or dollars at the end of the day.
That's huge, huh?
This is, mark my word, in 2 years' time, the world has started to change. We have started to see, for instance, Japan, Singapore, Switzerland have started to adopt this. So going back to your question, coming as adoption into the new world, you will be able very soon, and inshallah, and when I say I'm going to do it, I am a person, and whoever knows me in the audience knows I do action what I say. My dream, and I know it will happen, I would like to see someone tomorrow coming and paying for his coffee using a cryptocurrency. I would like to see someone coming and buying his land, his house, paying his rent, or paying his fines, or using his utilities through crypto. That will happen.
Offer from the president of El Salvador.
He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails.
President Nayib Bukele revealing more in a post on X, offering the U.S., quote, the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system in exchange for a fee. And it's not just for people who are in the U.S. illegally.
He has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence. No country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this.
But that offer, especially to take U.S. citizens, raising major concerns.
It's a non-starter to talk about deporting U.S. citizens. It's point blank unlawful.
Is Time Magazine still in business? I didn't even know that. Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste. You see it with the USAID, but you're going to see it even more so with other agencies and other parts of government. He's got a staff that's fantastic. He's wanted to be able to do this for a long time, and everybody else knew it was existent, but I think never so much when you look at USAID. That's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. Very little being put to good use. Every single line that I look at in terms of events and transactions is either corrupt or ridiculous. And we're going to be doing that throughout government. And I think we're going to be very close to balancing budgets for the first time in many years. I think we're going to be very close to, in addition to monies coming in from tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. But he's doing a very good job. I'm very happy with it.
They've done nothing as it relates to lowering the high cost of living. At the same time, they are raiding the government, attempting to steal taxpayer money. That's what the situation at the Treasury Department is all about. We will introduce the Stop the Steal Act in short order to prevent unlawful access with respect to the Department of Treasury's payment system connected to people who are trying to steal personal, sensitive, and confidential information.
Platforms are being asked with how much deposit?
30%.
Okay, for what?
So they're being asked by the logistics agent to pay 30% deposit, which they will have to top up or have it returned to them depending on the actual tax charges from the U.S. Customs. And this is after the U.S. Postal Service had flip-flopped on their policy about whether to accept parcels from China and Hong Kong. They have reversed that now, saying that they will find a more efficient way to collect those tariffs. But then you have the Hong Kong Post now saying that they are not accepting parcels that are being sent to the U.S. because they are in talks with the U.S. Postal Service. They're still clarifying certain issues. So either way, there is going to be some disruption to the post. The question is, how long? And that is what retailers are most worried about, especially small businesses that are working very hard to protect their reputation.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And again, I want to thank those who donated to King's birthday. You keep ringing that Cash App. Keep it coming. We're partying all weekend. And guys, remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. You have to laugh at all these events instead of crying. It is unbelievable. There's so much going on right now. There's no reason to watch Netflix, Hulu, or cable TV or sports. Your life is a movie. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have the Cftc is bringing in the big guns, including Ripple, to test and plan these stablecoins. And we know they're already ready behind the curtain. Us in crypto, we've seen stablecoins used, tested again and again. So we know for a fact they are ready for the real use case. All they need is that crisis to bring the free money to the people. And we know universal basic income is right around the corner. Now we have El Salvador, for exchange for a fee, will house dangerous criminals from the United States, whether they're illegal or U.S. citizens. Yes, guys, you heard that correct. And I can go biblical on that, but I'm not going to do it. But in America, they clearly want paradise on earth. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Doge, and of course, it's not Trump doing this. He brings in Elon. And remember, guys, this is part of the plan. Because remember, Trump was in office for 4 years. He had the opportunity to get rid of all these programs that are wasting money. Remember, he was in office when they turned on the money printer. This is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. But remember, is undefeated. And Democrats, of course, saying Elon has access to Treasury info. Again, the Hegelian dialectic. We know the politicians are paid puppets, and they're definitely putting on an act. And we have Shane and Temu, these tariffs, holding up packages. And we know a lot of people are mad, getting those cheap goods, and they're coming to an halt. And we have the federal buyout program on pause. But we definitely know it's going to happen. And we see a lot of employees happy to take that buyout. But little do the people know, the machines are coming. And good paying jobs are scarce. And you're talking about getting a pension, those days are over. So you definitely want to stay as long as possible. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have the Fed on the jobs report. Jobs report comes in good, which we know is manipulated. We know during the holidays people hire, but then they go and revise it. We know it's going to be revised down. But right now, the Fed gets to pause, gets to keep rates high for longer. And we know that's part of the plan. Higher rates destroy this legacy market, while Trump gets to build this fourth industrial revolution. Plus, you have all these tariffs. Plus, you have geopolitical events, which we can clearly see this whole world is in chaos. But we know that's how you create order. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Now, the White House guys reacting positively to the delay yesterday, saying that they were grateful to the judge for extending the deadline so that more people would have a chance to accept the offer. And this could simply extend the deadline, but it could also be the first step towards blocking the effort entirely. The federal workforce has strong civil service protections around it. They've been there for centuries, and they're meant to prevent mass layoffs, a way of making sure that a new president can't replace the entire government with political allies. But this so-called fork in the road offer appeared to be a way to try to work around those protections. We'll see if it's successful.
Hard to debate that you've got a solid employment report. You know, there's some other indicators and jolts and otherwise that show maybe some modest softening, but boy, you got to look really closely to see it. You got a solid jobs market, and I think rates market has, like you said, has rallied a bit, interpreting that maybe the Fed can get these cuts in. But listen, I don't think the Fed's getting cut anytime soon. You got labor in a good spot. You got inflation that's far from target and not really decelerating. So I think what the market's telling you is we're on hold at the Fed for an extended period of time, right? And so that backup after a pretty good rally, markets are rightfully backing up in the rate space.
I agree with her in that the Fed's on hold, right? They are totally on hold right now. They're on ice. They may not move at all this year. It's probably a really high probability. And if you really look at what Lori said, it's really focused on the current environment. Like right now, the Fed is more likely to just sit on their hands. I totally agree with that. But I think even Lori and certainly Powell agrees that over the long term, rates are meaningfully restrictive, right? Probably, easily 100 basis points too high. So that is the path of least resistance, but maybe not this year.
We're off the table if we really believe that tariffs are coming through, and I do believe we're going to see some tariffs. Now, how much we see in tariffs does matter, and how much they stay on matters, how long they stay on. But once you put tariffs in motion and once you actually apply them, they're very hard to peel back. And the escalation, as we saw, even with just the few days of escalation that we saw in the beginning of February, was pretty dramatic. So things are moving at a fast pace, but this is important because the Fed has enough information today to feel confident that they moved to the sidelines. The economy is on solid footing. The labor market is still strong, and that the revisions that we saw to 2024 were more for the first half of the year. The back half of the year actually saw upward revisions, especially late in the year, which underpinned the strength that we saw in consumer spending, notably in services. That's really important because that's the part of inflation that's been the stickiest.
My main concern now is that a combination of tariffs and over the horizon extreme fiscal budget cuts could be recessionary. On one hand, tariffs will introduce inflation because the way they have been talked about and the way they were employed for really 24 hours was as an across-the-board blunt instrument, not a strategic rifle shot with respect to some industries, which is the type of tariffs I could support. But that blunt instrument, which creates volatility and political uncertainty, along with the possibility of massive layoffs at the federal government level, I think will continue to create volatility and uncertainty. Here's what we have. We have a stable economy, and I think policymakers should look at a do-no-harm approach.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset.
And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Sonali Basak. Sonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.